Hi, Lulu, compulsive overeater, talking about amends, and this time I'm going to share graveyard amends that I did. Graveside amends, not graveyard, graveside amends. um, Making an amends to somebody that's dead seems like really like unproductive, but it turns out they were really kind of the most powerful ones that I did. They were really powerful. So, um, when I was 35 years old, which was a long time ago, my father died. And then 6 months later, my mother died. And then 11 months later, my brother died. He was 44 years old. They were in their early 60s. Um, just disease, not addiction, just just diseases, different health issues. And it was just like boom, boom, boom. It's just like I was just like, I can't believe I'm back in this limo again. I can't believe with smelling these flowers again. I just felt like was always in a limo going to a funeral. And then there was like little Lulu left. Like people like felt so bad. They were just like, oh my God, like who loses their whole family like that so quick? It was extremely painful. I was at my highest weight. I drank myself and ate myself through all of that. And very, very dark, dark time in my life. Went from the big Italian Sunday dinners and all the crazy ass family members and the niece and the nephew and my little girl and and just it was just over. It was over. Um, so like everybody, I had um, all three of them on my resentment list. We all look back to our childhood and we can make a list of everything. And I can remember, when I wrote the list, it seemed extremely correct. Like, this is the things that you shouldn't have done. You shouldn't have done that. And like, they were things like, you shouldn't have named me what you named me, because I wanted to just have a regular name so I could get that little license plate with my name on it for the back of my bike. Everybody, Debbie and Susan and Donna and Denise and, they all had one, but not me. It's just like you had to pick some silly ass name for me. That was on my resentment list. And other things like, you tried to tell me to do this, you tried to tell me to do that. You were always on my case about this. And kind of all the things that I did as a mother. That ironic. So I was able to see everything in a different way. So as an amends to them, I was invited to sit down and write a letter from me to my dad. If he was here today, what you've discovered in your writing as the truth, you might want to you can say, you really didn't shine on this day when you did that or said that. But, and then just talking, just if I could have a conversation with him today, having had my experience with him and my experience with the fourth step and unraveling my fourth step on my father, what I would say to him today. And that's what went in the letter. It was a long letter. And then she told me to put it in an envelope and seal it and put to dad on it. And then I was to do the same thing with my mom and the same thing with my brother. And I did that. And those letters felt really good. And she kept them. I would bring them to her, and she had this big hutch in her dining room, and she would put the letters up on top of the hutch. I don't know. She worked with so many people. I don't know how many letters were up there. Right. But she just took my letters and she's like, these are for another day, and then she had me write 3 more letters. And these letters were from each family member to me. Kind of maybe their experience with me, maybe if they want to maybe tell me something about their own experience in life that maybe I didn't know. if they wanted to respond to my letters, just invite God into the pen. Invite God into the pen. This is what I was told over and over. So I wrote a letter from dad to me, from mom to me, and from Bill to me. And the most amazing one, I mean, and I had good relationships with all of them. We weren't on a falling out. I don't have horror stories from my childhood. I mean, the most the most troubling thing I can remember was that I just wanted to hang a David Cassidy poster on my bedroom wall because I was nuts about David Cassidy, and I wasn't allowed to put the push pins through the wallpaper because I mean, I had like a bedroom that was like it belonged in a magazine, and I wanted a bedroom like the girls across the street that had like an alcoholic father. They had the best bedroom because it was a big old mess and they had to share it with other people, and they had posters everywhere and scotch tape would take the paper wallpaper off. I just wanted that so bad. And here I am in this like, there's like dolls all lined up and there's like pink and white wallpaper with the matching desk and the matching lamp and the little vanity with the mirror and the brush and comb set and the perfume. It was, I didn't like it. I didn't like it, you know? So this is the kind of stuff, right? So yeah, real troubled childhood. But you know something? It was I was troubled. If I wasn't allowed to do that, it was clearly troubling me. If I'm writing about it when I'm in my 50s, you know. So I was able to write all those letters, and the most amazing one was the one back from my brother because something and nothing ever happened between my brother and I, but I just had this feeling that like he didn't like me maybe, and he didn't want to include me in his friends. This is as adults. And I just always felt like I was it was I felt like I was not I was being intentionally excluded from this crowd that I wanted to be with because they had fun. And some truth was very logical explanation. Did not come out in my writing, but it came out in that letter. I was invited to sit there, invite God in, and let God. I mean, people say that it was God was guiding Bill Wilson with his pen when he wrote the big book. You know, that it's a God inspired book, and these were very God inspired letters. So much healing from these letters. And then she had me. She came and picked me up, and I was like, "You're gonna come and pick me up?" She was like 20 minutes away. She's like, "Yeah, I like to go with my sponsees to the cemetery." She's like, "I love cemeteries. Love cemeteries." She loved like being nosy and reading everybody's stones, right? And she was not going to be with me. This was going to be a moment for myself with my parents and my brother. And so she was off roaming and she was off reading, nosing around at the different tombstones. And so I just stood at my parents' grave, my parents and my brother, my family's grave, and I read all three letters. And it felt really, really powerful. It felt like I was um, present with them in a way. Um, but the real magic happened when I was finished reading those letters, and then we hopped back in the car together. And she wants to come with me because some people are just after something like that could be very emotional, and they shouldn't be driving. So that's why she comes with people. Um, and she took me home and she walked me into my house and she took me to my room into my chair, and she's like, sit there, light a candle. And she handed me the other three letters, the letters from them to me. And I sat in that chair and she says, I'm leaving now, and I just want you to sit there, bring God in, light your candle, and just read each letter from each one of them. And oh my God, it was so powerful and it was so healing. And it was just, even though I wrote them, it was like, I wrote them. Like it was me that sat and wrote them. It was just like all new stuff. I had written them a while back, a few weeks ago, and after the experience at the cemetery, it felt like a whole brand new thing. Um, it was just as powerful as can be. And I talk 100% peace with my past. I love my name. And I love that they wanted me to have such a beautiful bedroom. It was just what was important to them. That's all. When I had kids, wall to wall posters. I was like, wicked, you like Good Charlotte? Well, good. We're going to go get 10 Good Charlotte posters, and they're going everywhere, the ceiling everywhere, you know? And I remember one time my son wrote on his um, ceiling, he wrote the word gullible. And I was like, what'd you write that for? All I could think of is like, my mother would kill me if I wrote on my ceiling. And he's like, I don't know. It's just kind of cool when like somebody comes over and I say, do you know that it says gullible on my ceiling? And then they look up and I say, you're so gullible. But it does say gullible. It's just weird. I gave birth to weird children. And anyway, this is the same boy that bought a K. He bought a big K for his room. And I was like, why did you buy a K? His name is John. Why didn't you buy a J? I just wanted a K in my room. Okay. These are the kids I have. And anyway, so I don't have to sit in any pain from my past, my childhood. It was like everybody was just doing the best they could with what they had. And I found the joy in every moment that felt wrong to me, and that I was wrong and I was twisted up because of them. And you're the reason I eat, and you're the reason I'm obsessed with money, and you're the reason I have financial insecurity because you tell me to go get the promotion, go ask for the raise, go. And you know something? I resented him for years about that, but guess what? I'm 62 years old and I'm retired and I can do whatever I friggin' want because I'm all, and this is exactly what he did, but at my age, they were both very close to death. So I'm grateful that I am in health today. I don't know when my day is up, but I'm all set to, my financial advisor said, how long do you think you're going to live? I said 96. And he's like, okay. So he's doing all, I don't know where, I just pulled it out of my head. I didn't even think about it. I was like 96. He's like, all right, we'll make you plan as if you're going to be 96. I was like, all right. So if I'm here when I'm 98, I'm screwed. Somebody's going to have to take care of me. But that's what I have on Graveside Amends. And I have lovely memories of my family, even the pain. Shalece, do you have something? Did you make a Graveside Amends that you'd like to share?
I did. Does anybody care if we go a little bit over? Okay, cool. Yes, Graveside Amends. I had four Graveside Amends that I needed to make. I have two sets of grandparents that I knew very well. My father's parents and my mother's parents. My father's parents lived fairly close to us in Idaho. And so I visited them often, but ironically, I was closer to my parents that lived in Utah and that I visited less often. And so the grandparents that lived in Utah, loved them dearly. They were still on my resentment list. Even though I loved them dearly, there were still things that I resented them for. And so in unraveling these two relationships and seeing, there were 9 children in my family, and we'd go visit these grandparents that were close. And sometimes they weren't thrilled to see us. There were 9 of us. There were 9. I don't know that I would be thrilled to see me either. So anyway, just getting into reality and seeing, they gave us the love that they could. They gave us the love that they had, and they were doing the best that they could. So when I was doing this process of unraveling and taking care of amends, I lived in Texas, and the graveside sites were in Idaho and Utah. So it was not possible. It could have been possible, but I chose to make those graveside amends in Texas, just because of circumstances. But at any rate, I remember that the process of writing the letters to my grandparents and then writing the responses from them. And it was a very interesting, I remember my letter for my grandfather that I was very close with. I picked a very sacred space to me. It was sacred, a sacred building for our religious purposes. And I made an appointment to be able to go in and spend some time in a very, very special place. And it was quiet, and I was able to just dress in a very simple way and bring myself to be just communing with my grandfather there. And it was really, really special to just sit for a few minutes in this special place that I chose because I know it was special to him too. And to just read that letter. I didn't read it out loud. I read the letter. Sorry, I'm going to cry. It's going to make me miss my grandpa. Okay. Being able to read the letter that I wrote to him, telling him all of the things that I wasn't really thrilled with him about. And then also being able to read his response to me that some of the things that I wasn't fond of him about were the same things that he wasn't fond about me about. It was very interesting and very just, again, very, very human, seeing that he was a human doing the best that he could, and that I'm a human doing the best that I can. It's just really special there. And then the amends that I made to my grandmother on my father's side, I chose to make it, I didn't make them all at the same time. I wanted them to be separate and just really special. But the other one that I remember very well is that I chose to go on a walk at sunrise near our house in Texas and just read the letters. I actually read those ones out loud because I was outside and no one was around. But it was just really special to see, again, to release the resentment that I had towards my grandmother, and then to just hear her loving response, and just have it be at that special time of day where the sun is rising and it's a new day. It was just super special for me, even though I couldn't be, at the graveside. It was still special because I had chosen a special time or a special place to go, even that wasn't at the gravesite. And something that was really special about about the amends that I made to my great grandfather, or my grandfather on my father's side. He was a quiet man, and his response to me was very short. And so it was very, very special that it was just grandpa. It was just very special. It was just very short. And then my grandfather on my mother's side had very special way that when he'd see me, he'd say, "Well, hello, Shalece." He called me Shalece. And so that was how that letter began. It was, "Hello, Shalece." And then his response, and it was just so special. I did not expect to cry all the way through that, but I did. But I'm just so grateful for the opportunity that even though, even with people who are on our resentment list, they're not still living, that we can clean up our side of the street, and then we can have a clean slate. Even if we can't necessarily be at the gravesite, we can make a special place and a sacred space to be able to make these amends and make them special and memorable. With that, I'm going to go get a tissue. Thank you for letting us share. This is just wonderful. Thank you.